The fluorescent lights of the all-night diner buzzed overhead as Marcus wiped down the counter for what felt like the 100th time that shift. His feet ached, his back screamed for rest, and his daughter Lily was probably already asleep at his sister's place, clutching the worn teddy bear he'd given her on her 3rd birthday. Being a single dad meant these late shifts were necessary, even if they meant missing bedtime stories and goodnight kisses. But as he glanced at the clock showing 11:47 p.m., he knew every sacrifice was worth it for her smile. The bell above the door chimed, and Marcus looked up to see a woman and 2 small children shuffle in from the November cold. The woman's coat was thin, barely adequate for the biting wind outside, and the children, a boy about 7 and a girl maybe 5, pressed close to her sides like baby birds seeking warmth. Their shoes were scuffed, held together with what looked like duct tape, and the little girl's jacket sleeves stopped well above her wrists, clearly outgrown seasons ago. Marcus felt his chest tighten. He'd been there once, after Lily's mom left and before he'd landed this job. He remembered the weight of choosing between heating the apartment or buying proper winter clothes, between filling his daughter's belly or his own. The woman approached the counter slowly, her eyes scanning the menu board with an expression Marcus recognized too well, hope wrestling with mathematics, calculating what little she had against what her children needed. Her hands trembled slightly as she reached into her pocket. Just 2 hot chocolates, please," she said quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. "The smallest size you have." The little boy tugged at her sleeve. "Mama, can we have something to eat? I'm really hungry." "Shoo, baby. We'll eat when we get home," she said, but Marcus saw the way her jaw clenched, the lie evident in the tightness around her eyes. "That'll be $6, Marcus said gently, already reaching for the largest cups they had. He made the hot chocolates with extra whipped cream and chocolate shavings, the way he made them for Lily on special occasions. As he set them on the counter, the little girl spoke up, her voice small but cutting through the quiet diner like a knife. "Mama, are we bad people?" The woman froze, her hand halfway to her wallet. "What?" "Sweetie, no." "Why would you ask that?" Because the kids at school say only bad people are poor. They say if we were good, we'd have nice things like them." The girl's eyes filled with tears, and her brother put his arm around her shoulders, his own face crumpling with the weight of a question far too heavy for his young years. Marcus felt something break open in his chest. His hand stilled on the counter, and he found himself transported back 5 years, to a tiny apartment where his own daughter had asked him why they couldn't live in a house like her friends, why she couldn't have new toys, whether it was because she wasn't good enough. The mother knelt down, pulling both children close despite the tears now streaming down her own face. "No, babies. No, no, no. You are the best people I know. Being poor doesn't make you bad. Sometimes life is just hard. And Mama's working to make it better, I promise." Marcus couldn't watch anymore. He turned away, ostensibly to check on something in the kitchen, but really to wipe his own eyes. When he composed himself and turned back, the woman was counting out crumpled bills and loose change on the counter with shaking hands. He could see the total before she finished counting, $4.73. "I'm sorry," she whispered, her face flushing red. "I thought I had more." We can just take 1 hot chocolate. The kids can share." "No," Marcus said firmly, surprising himself with the force of his voice. The woman looked up, fear flashing across her face, probably expecting him to ask them to leave. Instead, he smiled. "I mean, no, that won't be necessary. These are already made, and honestly, I messed up the order for a customer who already left. They're paid for. Free of charge." "I can't," she began. "Please," Marcus interrupted. "I insist. And you know what? I think I made too much food too. We've got burgers, fries, grilled cheese sandwiches that are just going to go to waste if someone doesn't eat them in the next few minutes. Health code and all that." Would you be doing me a favor and helping me out? Otherwise, I have to throw it all away, and that seems wrong with hungry kids around. The woman stared at him, and Marcus saw the exact moment pride gave way to necessity, the moment a mother's love for her children overrode her own discomfort. That's very kind of you. Sit anywhere you like, Marcus said, gesturing to the empty diner. I'll bring it right out. As they settled into a booth, Marcus moved through the kitchen with purpose. He made 3 complete meals, burgers with all the fixings, crispy fries, and grilled cheese sandwiches cut into triangles the way Lily liked them. He added apple slices, carrot sticks, and 3 pieces of the chocolate cake they served for dessert. His manager would probably have questions about the inventory, but Marcus didn't care. He'd pay for it out of his own pocket if he had to. When he brought out the tray loaded with food, the children's eyes went wide. All this? The boy asked in wonder. All this, Marcus confirmed, setting everything down. Growing kids need to eat. Trust me, I know. I've got a daughter about your age, he said to the little girl. She eats like a horse. The children looked to their mother, who nodded permission, and then they dove in with the desperate hunger of kids who hadn't eaten a proper meal in too long. The woman ate too, though Marcus noticed she ate slowly, savoring each bite, and kept pushing food toward her children's plates when they weren't looking. Marcus returned to the counter, giving them privacy, but he watched from the corner of his eye. After a while, the woman approached him again. She'd been crying, he could tell, but her shoulders were straighter now. Thank you, she said. You didn't have to do that. Yes, I did, Marcus replied simply. Someone did the same for me once, when I needed it. A cashier at a grocery store, when Lily was just a baby and I was counting pennies for diapers and formula. She paid for my groceries, every bit of it, and told me to pass it forward someday. Lily, the woman repeated softly. That's a beautiful name. I'm Sandra. That's Tyler and Emma. Good kids, Marcus said. And to answer Emma's question, no, you're not bad people. Some of the best people I've ever met had the least. And those kids at school? They're just repeating what they've heard without understanding what it means. Sandra nodded, wiping her eyes again. It's been rough. I work 2 jobs, but the rent keeps going up, and childcare costs. I'm trying to save enough to move us somewhere better, but it feels like we're always one step behind. I get it, Marcus said. I really do. It took me 3 years to climb out of that hole. But listen, he pulled out a napkin and wrote down a number. This is the community center where my sister works. They have a food pantry, clothing donations, and they help with job placement. They helped me find this job, actually. Give them a call. Tell them Marcus sent you. Sandra took the napkin like it was made of gold. I don't know how to thank you. Just take care of those kids. That's all the thanks I need. As they prepared to leave, their stomachs full and carrying a to-go box Marcus had insisted on, Emma ran back to the counter. She was holding a crumpled dollar bill. Mama says we should tip you, she said seriously. Is this enough? Marcus felt his throat close up. He knew that dollar bill probably represented a huge sacrifice for this family. You know what? He said, kneeling down to her level. That's more than enough. But instead of giving it to me, why don't you hold on to it? And someday, when you see someone who needs help, you can use it to help them. Deal? Emma's face broke into the first real smile he'd seen from her all night. Deal, she said solemnly, shaking his hand. After they left, Marcus stood alone in the empty diner, the bell's chime still echoing. He pulled out his phone and looked at his lock screen, a photo of Lily laughing, missing her 2 front teeth, taken on their last trip to the park. They didn't have much, but they had enough. And now, because of a late-night shift and a family walking through his door, he'd been reminded of what his own rock bottom had looked like, and how one act of kindness had changed everything. He thought about the cashier whose name he'd